Block 3, Section 5, Database Definition and Population. The topics are an extension to the university model, table definition and deletion, inserting and updating data, defining constraints, use of domains in SQL, modifying tables, constraint evaluation, defining and using indexes. Finally, the summary. An extension to the university model. The following paragraph is an extension to our university scenario. Each course may use up to 5 textbooks, but might not use any. Each textbook is associated with one specific course. The title and author name, university code, and number of pages are stored for each textbook. The code number of a book is a unique 5-digit number. Because of the way they are bound, textbooks may contain a maximum of 400 pages. Let us go into detail of this paragraph. Each course may use up to 5 textbooks. So we know that textbook is the new entity we are going to add. So let us see how can we connect this to the course, existing course entity. Each textbook is associated with one specific course. So there is a relationship between course and textbook. So it says that may use. So it's not mandatory. Course may use or may not use, and the maximum number of books used is 5. The title, the attributes of the textbook entities are the title, author name, and the university code. Then we have the number of pages are stored in each textbook. These are the attributes. The code number of a book is a unique 5-digit number, and this is used, as we know that this is used as a primary key to identify each book. So here we have an extra paragraph. This is an additional constraint. Because of the way they are bound, textbooks may contain a maximum of 400 pages. Continues scenario extension. For some of its courses, the university requires an externally contracted printing company, printer, to print the textbooks. For example, where specialized diagrams are required. Each textbook is either printed by an external printing company or printed internally. Each external printing company has a unique business code that is formed from the prefix PX followed by 4 digits. The business code, company name, address, and telephone number are stored for each printer. To ensure consistent formatting, all the textbook for any given course must be printed by the same printer. So let us see the details. Some of its courses, the university requires an externally contracted printing company. So our new entity is the printer to print the textbook. So there is a relationship between textbook and printer. Each textbook is either printed by, so this is another condition here. You can see each textbook is either printed by an external printing company or printed internally. So it's not mandatory to print in the university or external contractor. And each external printing company has a unique. So the attributes are the printer has a unique business code and is formed from a prefix PX and followed by any 4 digits. For example, PX, all 4 ones, PX 0000, etc. like that. The business code company name, address, and telephone number are stored for each printer. So these are the remaining attributes. To ensure consistent formatting, all the textbook for a given course must be printed by the same printer. This is an additional constraint. So let us see the identity relationship model for this extension. So we know that course is an existing entity. So course used on textbook. The scenario extension says that a course may or may not use maximum up to 5 books. So may or may not. So this side is, that is where this side is what? Optional participation in the course side. And we know that the course may use more than one. So this is the many, and this side is the mandatory participation. Now let us see the relationship between textbook and printer. And the textbook printer. So the textbook can be printed from a printer or internally printed. So that is where you can see here an optional participation. One printer can print many books or not. So both the sides are optional participations. These are the new addition to our existing AR diagram. And entity types are textbook, book code, title, author name, number of pages, and we know that the scenario says book code is a unique number, so underline this is the primary key. And the second entity is the printer, and again printer has a primary key which is the business code, and the remaining attributes are name, address, telephone number. And we have seen we have some additional constraints here. All textbook for the same course must be printed by the same printer. No more than 5 textbooks may be used on any one course. Again, we have another constraint. Textbooks contain between 1 and 400 pages. So we have finished analyzing the extension, and we have the ER diagram extension. We have the entity types. We have the additional constraints. So now next step is to create this table in our database. Table definition and deletion. Creating a table. The syntax is use the keyword create table, and you can specify your table name here and the column definition list by using comma separator. And you can use another keyword for primary key, and maybe it is a single value or it could be multiple. So column name list. This is the basic syntax for creating a table. So let us see the table textbook. Let us create textbook table. So as I told you, the keyword used is create table, and our table name is textbook. Use a parenthesis. Okay. Then, and you can see the parenthesis is closed at the end, starting parenthesis, and you can see the ending parenthesis. And the first attribute is book code, and it says, and we can use char5 for this unique code. And the title, of course, we know that this is variable character length, so we can use varchar 40. And not null is a constraint. We have seen this. Not null. For the title column, null values are not allowed. You must specify a value for the title while you enter data. And the third attribute is author name. Again, this is variable character length, varchar 20. And if suppose the user is not entering the author name, by default, the database will assign a value called none. Number of pages, integer. And the course code. So you have to be familiar with the course table in the university database. Course code is designed with char2, and of course this is a primary key in course table, and we know that primary keys are not allowed to enter not null value. So it should be not null. And for this table, our primary key is, we have seen in the scenario, book code is the primary key. So primary key is the keyword used, and we have only one column for primary key, so which is the book code. And we have to specify the constraint, the foreign key constraint. And we know that course code is a column or attribute in course table. So it is a foreign key in textbook table. So constraint, so we can specify a constraint name, any valid constraint name can be used here. And foreign key, our foreign key is course code, and which references which table, which references the course table. Let us run this query and see the result. Make sure you have connected to the university database. So I have written the code here. Let me run the query and see what's happening. So you can see if you don't have an error in the SQL statement, you will get an answer execution time 0.142 seconds. That means it has created the textbook table in the database. Let us see this one in the Sybase Central. Let us go back to Sybase Central, and you can see here it has added a new table called textbook. And see, look at the titles, column titles, book code, title, author name, number of pages, course code. And let us see our primary key here. The primary key is checked here, book code, and see the foreign key used is from the textbook in is the constraint we use course table, and the foreign key column is course code. Let's go back. We have an exercise here. Would you expect to represent a 12-figure telephone number using integer or char 12? Char 12 means a 12-figure character string. And why? The answer is probably a char 12 for the following reasons. You can say no numeric operations are expected with a telephone number. And sometimes we have to specify the country code, and the country code always starts with 00. And if you use a numerical value, leading 0 has no effect in a numerical value. So to show the leading zeros we can always go for a char data type. And to restrict exactly 12 digits, you can use char 12, size 12. SQL data types. And we have seen this at the beginning of this block. So char character or the char we use for the fixed length character strings, and varchar is for the variable length. And we have the numeric data types: integer, small int, big int, decimal, and numeric. And we have the float, single precision floating point number. We have real, single precision floating point number again, and double precision floating point number. And we have finally the bit string types: bit length and bit varying, which is for the fixed length bit string for length n, len, and the varying is for the variable length bit string up to length len. And we have the date time types: date, time, precision p, times stamp, precision p, and interval. And we have the large object using types, and C lob or the character large object, binary large object. Now let us see how to remove the table. So the basic format for removing a table is, it's a keyword again, drop table, and you have to specify the table name. No confirmation is offered before or after removal. So be careful with the statement. Before you delete the table, remove the table, make sure there are no data. So always check by using select star from textbook. So let us see if we have any content in our textbook and we can delete this table or not. Let us run this query and see what are the contents of the textbook. So we know that we don't have any data in the textbook. So we will be able to delete this table using the command drop table textbook. So execution time. So it is not giving any warning or anything for you. So make sure you are really deleting the table. Inserting and updating data. SQL provides 3 different kinds of update statements. Number 1, adding new rows to a table using the insert statement. So the first one is the insert. Second one, modifying the values of particular columns in existing rows of a table using the update statement. Third one, deleting one or more existing rows from a table using a delete statement. Let's see examples for this. Adding rows to a table using insert. 2 forms of insert statements are one that contains the data to be inserted in the statement itself. Second one, the other extracts data from other tables through a query and inserts the resulting tuples in the target table. So we will be able to enter new values to an existing created table, and we will be able to copy values from an existing table using insert command. So let's see an example here. Basic form using values, first one. So insert is the keyword. Insert what? Into. Insert into where? Insert into the textbook. Values are, and the book code is 38572, and we know that this is char, so we use the single quotes. And we have the variable length here, varchar. The name is practical pragmatics, and we use again the single quotes here. And this is the author name, and we use again what? Single quotes. And we have 320 is the number of pages, and number of pages we know that we can have a less than 400, any number less than 400. And make sure you are using an existing course code, and this must be, and we know that we have seen what is referential integrity, and we know that course code is a primary key in a course table, so make sure the C7 is existing in the course table. This is one way of entering data. Another way, specifying column names. Insert into textbook, specify the columns, okay? Then we can give the values, and we don't have to follow the order. Here we follow the order how we created the table. Here you can specify the order, and accordingly you can give value. Like for example, course code is the second column here. So C4 you have to specify second as second. So let us run this queries and see the results. As you know that I have deleted this table from the database. Let me run this query and see, let me create the table again. So now the textbook table is created in the database. You can see, good. Let me run the query and see the result. So you can see an answer here, 1 record inserted. So let us see the result of this one. So for that we can use what? We can use, we run command this. Select star from textbook. You are able to see one row, the values we have entered. So let us run the second query now. Let's run the second query and see. So again, one more record is inserted. So let us see the result from here. Select star from textbook. So you can see the 2 rows. So see here, number of pages we did not give. So by default it is inserting a null value. In the second insert statement, we did not specify a value for the number of pages. So accordingly, it is creating a null value for this particular column. How to delete rows from a table using the delete keyword. We can delete all rows in one statement, delete from textbook. So what will happen? If I use the statement delete from textbook, the 2 rows what we have created will be deleted. We can delete a selection of rows using a where. So we can make use of our where clause. by giving a condition. So delete from textbook where author name is null, delete from textbook where number of pages less than 250, etc. like that. Logical processing model for delete. Delete from textbook where number of pages greater than, so we use a subquery here, select average number of pages from textbook. So if the number of pages is more than the average number, so you're deleting that textbook. The where clause is evaluated using the same value of AVG number of pages each time. The original target table is used for the whole deletion. The subquery is not re-evaluated after each deletion of the row. So this will be evaluated first, then the query will be evaluated. Inserting multiple rows in a single insert statement is a standard SQL feature but not implemented in SQL anywhere. So you can have multiple values, insert into textbook values, the first one, second one, third one. So we have to follow the order how we have created the table. Adding data from other tables. So we know that we have seen we can insert new values into a newly created table, or we can always copy values from an existing table to a newly created table. So let us create a new table called temp patient in the hospital database. Patient ID char 3, name var char 8, height decimal 4.1, and the primary key is the name. Actually, I'm using the same column titles what is existing in the patient table. Then we're going to insert the value from the patient table. See, temp patient, insert into TMP patient. This is our new table, and these are the attributes we have created, and we need to create the same 3 columns from patient table. So from patient, and what's the condition? So you can specify a condition, and otherwise it will copy all the data from the patient tables. Now we are filtering. We need to copy only the female patient's details to the new TMP patient table. Let us run this query and see the result. Let me run this query and see the result of the patient. Sorry. So when I am running the query, you can see select star from patient. You're able to see 18 rows, and there are females and the male patients. So our idea is to create a new table to copy the female patient details, like such as patient ID, name, and height, to the newly created table. So let us create a new table now. See, when I am running the query, the temp TMP patient table is created. If you go to the Sybase Central, you will be able to see the TMP patients in your hospital database. Now let me try to insert values from the existing patient table. So when I am running this query, select star from TMP patient, we know that this table is empty. There are no values. So we're going to insert the values now. So let me run the query. So you can see execution time in seconds and 10 records affected. So let me see the 10 records entered inside our new table. Select star from TMP patient. You can see we have 10 female patients details in the newly created table. Patient ID, name, and height. These are the attributes. We have an exercise here. What will be the result of executing the following 2 statements when the temp patient table initially contains no data in each case? Insert into TMP patient, select drug name, price from drug. It will succeed because we are trying to copy the same type of data, the 3 columns, drug name, price, and price. And the second one, insert into TMP patient, select nurse name, ward number, null from nurse. So here again we have 3 columns. The last one is null, which this query will fail because the ward number field repeats in the nurse table, So it cannot be inserted as a primary. We know that the name column is what? Name column is already, and we have defined this as a primary key.